Okay, so for this lesson, we're going to do it a little bit differently than I normally would because um, the time, like I said. So I'm going to go into your LOL King. Let's see. You do play on North America. Good. So let's look you up. Win by losing. Okay, this looks right. Okay, so we're going to look at your runes and your masteries a little bit. Um, Okay, you said you want to play Nami, I believe. Uh, Let me make sure this is you. Match history should be Tristana, Warwick. Couldn't find. Uh, Tristana should be up there. Okay, this looks right. Win by losing on North America. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure this is yours. So, um, first of all, your rune page. I'm gonna assume you don't have IP for another rune page. So if you want to play support, Nami is probably the best one that you can run. Just because this isn't the best um, set of runes. So I'm gonna assume you don't have much that you can do here. Um, if mm, I would suggest getting CDR per level blues, um, because they're a lot better than Magic Pen blues also. Like, so if you look here, there's 8.7 Magic Pen per mark, and then 6.3 Magic Pen per glyph. So, um, essentially, if when you're buying runes, what you should do is you should look and say, well, you get more in a mark than you do in a glyph, so it's not a rune that you want to get with glyphs. It'd be probably about the same for seals, but seals would probably be like 0.4 or something. Like, um, if if you see that it's higher on one rune than another, then that's the rune that you're supposed to buy it on, essentially. Like, it doesn't, like, quints don't count, right? Because quints do a lot. But, um, for example, you want like physical damage and penetration as marks. So like hybrid pen, flat AD, um, armor pen, magic pen, those kind of things are going to be your marks. Seals are like your tanky ones. So this is going to be uh, like armor or health. Um, there aren't really any other good seals that I can think of. Blues are going to be like magic-y ones. So if you really want like uh, AP blues, or if you really want AP like runes that aren't quints, blues would be the spot for them. The best blue is either magic resist or CDR per level right now. Um, Quint wise, quints can be a lot of different things, right? But typically, some safe ones to buy if you want to play support a lot. Armor quints are really good. You can use it on every support. There's not a single support that I can think of that doesn't benefit from armor seals or from armor quints. Um, AP and AD, like flat AP and flat AD, are some other good quints. Just to have because they're really versatile. You can put them in a lot of kits. So that's like if you're playing on a budget. Um, as far as like what I would specifically advise for Nami, I would get CDR per level blues, um, either HP per level seals or armor seals, hybrid penetration marks, magic pen works, I suppose, since you have them, you can use them, but hybrid penetration is better because you're not just using spells, you're going to be using auto attacks also. And then as far as quints goes, again, armor quints are the best on any support. Um, Let me just reread your message because you mentioned Nami. I want to work on Nami slash support, but I don't know whether my knowledge in the game can make me capable of playing support, which is useful. Okay. Um, so those runes are going to be what you want for support. I'm expecting you to have like 20 rune pages. Okay, 8. Or mastery pages. 8's not bad. Nami. Perfect. Um, these are pretty good. So the only changes that I would make here, um, the Phase Walker mastery isn't very strong. And Fleetfoot's actually pretty bad. Like, it sounds good in theory, like increased movement speed, but if you do the math, right now you have 1% bonus movement speed. So, like, if you have 500 movement speed, which is really high, like, Janna with Boots of Mobility and her W is like 480 or something. So 500 is a pretty unrealistic number, but even if you were to get that, you would get 5 move speed. So it's kind of a waste of mastery. Um, I'd take the points out of here. I'd put one in Scout, so that you can get out of this tree, and then 2 in Meditation, and then you pretty much got it. Like the rest of this is right. It's just Fleet of Foot's pretty wasted, and I mean I suppose if you want Phase Walker you can keep it, but I definitely think that the increased Trinket cast is better. Um, but if you like backing faster, that's fine. Um, so if you were to do, I'll show you my masteries now. If you were to do like a, yeah, see these are the masteries that I suggest, which are yours, except a little bit different, right? With that little change. Um, if you want to do like a melee support, like a Leona, I see a lot in lower elo. Uh, Tarek, he's pretty cheap, and he's not bad. He's just kind of boring. Why can't I think of melee supports? I don't play melee supports much, but oh, Nautilus is a big one. If you want to do a melee support, you're gonna want this mastery page. Um, so I'd suggest making both of these mastery pages. I have 4 because I have 3 different support pages, and then one for like I just make it on the fly before a game. So with the recent mastery changes, mm, this might not be perfect, but let me see. Do I want this? No. So this is what I would advise on a melee champion, like the ones I said before at support. Um, hmm, okay. Um, so that's sort of like a runes and masteries thing. And then as far as like a build would go, you said that Nami's what you're kind of interested in, and like I'm sorry that this isn't like a in-person lesson, but it would be a really bad time for me, and I didn't even think about it when I accepted it. Typically, I can do like a really early slash late, like 4 a.m. for me is, I mean, it's not the best time. I'd prefer a different time, right? But um, typically, I can still get those in. It's just tomorrow I've got to get up early and do stuff, so I can't uh, stay up late or wake up that early because I had team stuff tonight. So, um, oh, item builds. For Nami, I would suggest either getting Ancient Coin first. So we will put that over here. How do I do this? Oh, um, you can either go Ancient Coin or what's it called? Spell Thief? Yeah, Spell Thieves. Um, Okay, my client froze. Nice client. Um, but anyways, you'll get either Ancient Coin or Spell Thieves. With that, you'll get 2 health potions and 2 mana potions. A general rule of thumb is if the champion has a heal, you want 2 mana potions. If they don't, you want 1 mana potion. The only exception is like Kennen because he doesn't use mana, or yeah, I can't really think of another exception because most champions benefit from at least a little bit of mana. I don't know if my client's gonna fix itself or not. Um, but yeah, moving on from there, on your first back, I would advise. Maybe I'll write this down in a notepad since it's not working. So you want coin, or spell thieves, thief, thief. Um, and then for a first back, you're gonna want to upgrade to nomad, or don't upgrade this. Or you want to start your sightstone. Sightstone. It depends on how much gold you have. We'll do right 2-2. That's gonna be your potions, right? And okay. So then, as far as your first back goes, if you have like 600 gold, if you have enough for a Nomad's Medallion, the upgrade on your support item, and you don't have enough for Sightstone, go with this. If you have enough money for Sightstone, then you're going to want to get your Sightstone. As far as this build goes, you're going to want to get Sightstone regardless. Just because there's not really another useful item. There's not really, the Spell Thief's upgrade isn't good for Janna, so you're gonna want to transition to a Talisman of Ascension late game anyways. The reason that you would pick a coin, or a Spell Thief over a coin is probably the best option, but the reason that you would take a Spell Thief is if you plan on poking a lot. So if they have like a melee support or something, and you're just constantly going to be harassing, then a Spell Thief is a decent choice. Even even if you're going to poke a lot, I really like coin, because you don't have to feel like you have to get like a auto attack quota or something to get your money's worth. You can just sort of sit back and like play at your own pace. You don't feel forced to harass. So I would advise coin, but if you want to get Spell Thief, you can. And then going off of this, you're either gonna want to upgrade your Nomad or get your Sightstone. From there, they're going to turn into the same build again. So let's put this in the middle. So from there, they're going to turn into the same build. You're going to want to go Boots of Mobility, Mobies, on both of these builds. Oh, it's important to note that you want to get your trinket swapped. Trinket. Oh shoot. Trinket, and trinket. As soon as you get your sightstone, because you don't need the trinket ward anymore. From Mobies, you typically want to go Talisman, or no. From Mobies, you can go a whole bunch of things. The most common thing, you can either go Locket, or a Magi's if you're winning, or upgrade your Talisman, seen people build Ardent Sensor. I don't know how they spell it. I think it's like that. Maybe it's an A. I don't know. Ardent Sensor is really situational on Janna. You'd build Ardent Sensor if you have like a Jinx or a Vayne or some sort of like hyper carry that you want to use your shield on constantly because it gives like a buff on top of the buff. You don't go Ardent Sensor if you have like an Ezreal or something. Um, I'd say Ardent Sensor is the only one of these that's like situational. So I'll put like a little thing there. Locket, Magi's, Talisman, Mobies, that's 4 items. Um, oh, Sightstone, that's 5. So yeah, then you can get like an Ardent Sensor or Twin Shadows is pretty good. Twin Shadows. And the reason for Twin Shadows is you can ward really well with it. Um, and then these same items are going to apply to this. So, even the talisman. So you would sell your spell thief and buy a talisman. Or you could get like nomad or whatever. Like you just need to get your talisman. Um, so that's kind of, oh shoot. Um, no, I'm sorry. For some reason I thought it was Janna. You definitely don't build Magi's on Nami. It's that stupid Janna picture right there. It's confusing me. And on Nami, I suppose you can get um, uh, Frost Queen. Frost Queen. If you want. Personally, I'd still go coin. Sightstone. Yeah, I still agree with this build order though, because I feel like the middle blue support item doesn't give enough gold income to justify putting off a Sightstone for it. Um, but you still want to lock it. You still want your upgraded jungle or support item. Uh, However, I think that Ardent Sensor is actually pretty core on Nami. Um, Twin Shadows is still situational, but like I said, Ardent Sensor is pretty core. Um, Ardent Sensor might want to be one of the first times you get a Mikhail's. Mikhail's is really good. Um, so this puts you at Mobies, Sightstone, 1, 2, 3, 4. Twin Shadows you can get if you don't get one of these, I'd say. You can skip a locket if you really want to, like if your team doesn't need, like if your jungler gets a locket and you're not getting focused, but typically you want to lock it because it gives you a lot of tankiness. Um, but this is typically a good build on Nami. So uh, an important way to play Nami is, okay, so at level 1, you want to start your W, and once you get to lane, you want to W harass or W poke like constantly. So this lesson sucks because oh well. You want to poke with your W like constantly because you can use your W on like their support. It'll bounce back to you, heal you, and harass, say their AD carry or something. That's your goal. You want to get 2 Ws on the enemy team, 1 W on you. Um, and that does a lot of damage. It's a really good poke, and whatever damage you take going up to poke, you get healed back. So W poke is super important. Um, as far as like her next big power spike, she's actually pretty strong at level 3. So at level 3, you want to still be W poking, and then you want to keep track of their mobility spells. So say they have like a Vayne or something. You want to know if she's used her tumble, or if they have like a Lucian, if he's used his dash. And then you want to um, get very good Qs. So Q, ADC, or squishy support. Um, and then you want to E, ADC. Um, you're an ADC. So essentially, what this does is you've been poking their support and ADC since level 1. They're probably like 3/4 health, half health, depending on how much you poke them and if they have sustain. Um, at level 3, you have your W, you're still poking, right? And if you land a Q and you E your AD carry, you're probably going to force a summoner because um, they're not going to have mobility to get away, right? Like that goes back to keeping an eye on their mobility. Like if their Lucian has E up or their Vayne has Q or something like that. Um, you want to keep an eye on their mobility, make sure they don't have anything. So if you hit a bubble, they have to flash, or they have to heal, or their support has to make a play to save their AD carry. That's your goal. Your goal here isn't necessarily to get a kill, it is to force a summoner. Because forcing a summoner will set you up for either jungle ganks or your level 6, which is her next big power spike, which most champions spike at level 6, right? Um, her ult is really good for places like Dragon, um, in the jungle, um, Baron, obviously, but you're not going to be there at level 6. Um, and like for disengage, running away. So what you want to do at level 6 is hopefully you've blown a summoner at level 3, right? Or at some point after 3. And this is when you're going to want to make a play for an objective like Dragon, or go for a tower, or something like that. Um, and this is going to be your sort of best time to alt, is going to be with like an objective or with a jungle gank. Because unlike say like a Leona or a Nautilus or one of those other like big CC ultimates, um, Nami's ult isn't good at engaging. It's not horrible, but typically you won't engage with Nami ult just because um, it's easy to dodge, it's slow, and you can flash it, right? So if you haven't blown a summoner before, uh, they're going to be able to flash it. And it's not like it doesn't do a ton of damage or give you great CC. The real power of it is like the disrupt. You knock everybody up for a little bit, and that gives your team a chance to focus one person. So it's not great. It's not the best ult for a 2v2, like say a Leona's or a Nautilus is better. Um, but it's not bad. So if they're hard engaging on you and you're like falling back and you want to use your ult or something, that's good. Or if you want to make a dragon play and you can use it to stall, stuff like that. As far as another power spike, her next one would probably be when she has like a locket and or an ardent censer. Like her first item is a pretty big power spike. Mikhail's can be a good first item. Any of her items that she builds except for Frost Queen or Talisman are pretty good first items for her. It's situational. So like if they have a lot of AP on the other team or a lot of damage in general, you want to get a Locket. If they have a lot of CC, you want to get a Mikhail's because that active is great. If you guys are sort of winning or you have a really strong AD carry, you can go ahead and get an Ardent Sensor first. Um, so that's a pretty big power spike as the first item. Um, and then from there, like you're gonna be most useful with uh, your ultimate and your bubbles. So uh, you can really win a team fight if you make a pick with your bubble. You just can't get caught. So if you're like group 5v5 mid or something, and you sort of step up, throw a bubble, uh, and you get somebody, you can win a team fight. If you step up, try and throw a bubble, and you get CC'd or something and you die, you can throw a team fight. So it's very important to be safe when you're going for bubbles, but it's definitely your biggest um, use in team fights. Like you don't have to engage with it. It's actually pretty risky to engage with it, but you definitely want to land your bubbles. It's the most important thing that you'll do in a team fight, next to using your E on your AD carry. Um, you always want to E your AD carry because it gives an on-hit bonus, on-hit damage bonus, and it gives them a slow with their auto attacks. It also gives them move speed. Whenever you use a spell on an ally, it gives them move speed. Um, so using your EOS on your AD carry is super important. Say you have a Jinx and she's rocket form and you use E on her, that's going to be huge. You're doing bonus damage, um, and applying a slow, and speeding her up. So it's really big. Um, Especially if you get an Ardent Sensor. Like Ardent Sensor first item with a Jinx is great because you can use Ardent Sensor on her, or you can use your W on her, which will give the Ardent Sensor effect, which is like bonus magic damage on hit and something else. Oh, bonus attack speed, and then you can use your E on them, and she's just like super steroids and super strong, best AD carry ever. Um, So using your E is really important, um, and using your Q right. So you want to use your Q to peel if you don't use it to engage. What that means is like if somebody's diving onto your AD carry, you want to hit them with a bubble so your AD carry can run away. That's going to be the best use for your ultimate too. Your ult is really good for peel. So if they're coming at your team really hard, you can use ult to run away, or you can use it like to in the middle of a fight and hit a bunch of people so that your team has an advantage. But never use it aggressively. Um, that's pretty much it for Nami. You want to focus on your bubbles, um, use your E on your AD carry, use your alt as like a disengage, or hit as many people with it as you can. Um, you saw the build order. Um, Nami is a pretty simple champion with a pretty high skill floor, which means she's like hard to be decent at, just because like her bubble's a pretty difficult skill shot, um, and her alt is uh, kind of hard to know when to use. That is compared to other supports, right? Like she's not super intense mechanically, but I don't think that she's the easiest support that there is. Um, I definitely think she's a lot of fun. She's good to learn skill shots with, stuff like that. Um, really good support. Um, and that pretty much covers the basics of Nami, how to play her, build, um, and we talked about runes and masteries a little bit. So that's gonna be about it for this lesson. I didn't have time to get a Nami game in, but I totally can if you want. But the best thing to do would be you play a game on Nami and then send me the replay. You can do that using op.gg or replay.gg. They're both good, easy ways for me to watch a replay. So just hit me up with a replay or something like that, and the next lesson that we do can be a lot better than this one. Um, Typically, I'll be able to accommodate to pretty much any time, but this was just a bad day for a 4 a.m. lesson. So, sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and upload this video, send it to you, and yeah, so thanks.